speaking. This is the Grand Rapids Camp, giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and honors and salutations to you brothers doing the work in truth and sincerity. And the title of this video is basically instead of a friend, become not an enemy. You know, because we still living in this world, even though we're in the last times. And you know, it's basically just laying backing off the other lesson we did is about you know the bridle your tongue or kindle a fire. So it's along those same lines, you know. But this time it's just instead of a friend, make not an enemy, because you got to watch your actions when you're dealing with people, you know, whether it be people out in the world or more importantly the brotherhood, you know. And whatever scriptures y'all got, y'all can go ahead and read.
Okay, this is Sirach 6:1. Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name. Right. And if we go into the name and the importance of a name, all right, your name precedes you.
Good.
Okay.
Your name is your reputation. You know,
Right.
your reputation precedes you.
Right.
You can go far and wide, but once you make enemies out of certain people, man, people are asking around, they hear your name and shit. You come around and they hear your name, they're like, oh, this.
They already have a preconceived thought towards you. Because they like, oh man, I heard this, that, and third.
Right.
And whether it be good or not, because hey, you got to consider that there's people out here that do have a strong discernment and they can see through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but you giving motherfuckers a preconceived thought about you, and considering especially as to why this has been brought forward. You know, if it's not for the truth's sake, okay, it's one thing if it's for the truth, but then it's another thing if it's, you know what I'm saying, something that is a close matter between you and somebody else close to you. Okay, because once your name is fucked up, man, that's gonna run with you for the rest of your life.
God, I mean, shoot, once your name is messed up, it's not just like I say, it's a reputation. You know what I'm saying? It's just like our reputation as men of the Lord. Like for instance, when us brothers, you know, when other men see us brothers, they know we go out and we preach the Bible. They know that we be getting on these Edomites. They also know we be getting on our own people, you know, about not following the scriptures. And they know, basically they know we about the scriptures. So our reputation precedes us. But even if you in the, but even a man of the Lord, you know, if you in the truth, if you making all types of enemies, your reputation precedes you. It's like, okay, you may, I may see you doing the same thing that the rest of these camps is doing. However, you do it differently. You too rash with it, or you know you provoke people for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And then your reputation to start preceding you. Oh, this guy, man, this guy right here, he's not like them. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by reputation. And those are just examples, but when your reputation precedes you, or you give yourself an ill name, a bad reputation, people don't look at you the same as they look at, you know.
Again, they're gonna have a preconceived thought of you. So as soon as they see you or meet up with you, this is what they're gonna feel and they're gonna think. It says, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame, and reproach. Right, and it's a shameful thing, man. Because when you sitting along, what do we call it? Burning bridges, man. You know, Jake has that terminology. So when you burn your bridges, man, with somebody or many people, they're burnt. You know, it's not something that you can easily rebuild, if at all. And for pride's sake, you won't be able to. All right, because when you fall out with a friend, for pride's sake, you can't rebuild that relationship because you still don't feel that you've done any wrong.
No, this is.
Hold on, I got a little bit more slack, y'all. Thou shalt inherit ill name, shame, and reproach. Even so shall a sinner that hath a double tongue. Right, and you got to be careful. Once again, that tongue being unbridled is that causes situations, and you don't want to speak so much of or certain things that you forget what you say, because you got to think. We do this and we do these things in the presence of one or two men, or two or three, okay? And you let them judge the matter. Now you got to remind you, remind yourself that these men may be around you, or even other men may be around you often, and they can hear that conversation. All right, just because it's not something that's spoken on all the time, they can recall that conversation. All right, and you thinking that you justified in the situation, you can fuck around and find out that you are actually at fault by the witness of one to two or the 2 to 3 brothers or whatever may have you, or 2 to 3 people in general, or however you would put it forth. All right, and then you can end up having shame. You can be shamed for that, man. It says, extol not thyself in the counsel of thine own heart, that thy soul be not torn in pieces, and a bull straying alone.
Extol not thyself in thy own heart. Don't be all lifted up in your own heart. I mean, unless you tear your soul into pieces. Oh, I thought this, or I thought that. Man, how could this be, man? I'm not wrong, you know.
Right.
Matter of fact, let me look up that definition to extol. A matter of fact,
thou shalt eat up thy leaves and lose thy fruit, and leave thyself as a dry tree. So what can you do? What's the word? Not
extrapolation.
Through extrapolation, what can you take from that? You know, it's not talking about a literal tree and shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's not talking about, you got to be able to extrapolate that. All right. Because through that, you understand that we are like trees, man. And the fruit that we have or we push forth is this word. Even those that come into this word through the teachings that, we may have taught them or put out there. Now you can lose that fruit, or you could even lose favor with the Lord, so to speak, because of rash words. You got that? I'm sorry, you got that or something?
Yeah, extol comes from the Hebrew rawam, which means to rise up, be high, be lofty, be exalted. So extol not yourself. Don't exalt yourself. Right. You think you so high that you can't be brought down. You know. Right. You think you so justified that you can't be humbled. Right. It's like once you get humbled or be brought down to a low place, now all of a sudden everything is wrong and everything is bullshit. Right. You know. No, man. Don't extol yourself to that high level. Don't be making all types of enemies, you know? Right. I mean, it says instead of a friend, because we ain't out there to make friends. We ain't in this truth to make friends. Don't make an enemy. It's like, hey, motherfucker, hey, if you out in the world and shit and you disagree with what we got to say, hey, you can walk up the street. Just like a regular motherfucker that's around and shit. Guess what they can do? You can go up the street, or hey, we don't need to tell you the truth. You don't have to, what do the scriptures say about a fool speaking all his mind? We don't have to tell everybody the truth. Don't cast not your pearls before swine. That's in the scriptures. Right. Hey, once we've been warned the person, if they come out of it, then fine. If they don't, then hey, it's not for them. Hey, walk your ass up the street. The scriptures do talk about letting the if they be evil, let them be evil still. You know, we ain't out there to save people. Basically, the scriptures say, save yourself, man. You know, instead of a friend, just don't make an enemy. You know.
That says, a wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it.
Right. Hey, a wicked soul shall destroy him that hath it, man.
Most High ruled that hedge from around
you. Kind. Now your soul become wicked and you're going to destroy yourself, man.
Or he can have some wicked mother. Once that hedge come off of you can have some wicked motherfucker destroy you for being proud and extolling yourself. You can have him come humble you, and then that humbling can lead you into being ready to either destroy yourself or do something that destroy your name and your title in general. Or your reputation in general.
I had a quick follow-up precept.
Go ahead.
This is Romans 12:3. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think.
Right.
Because we are worms in this thing. You know, Jacob thou worm.
Right.
And pretty much, it's no need to be getting proud or boastful, because, you know, we're all striving to make our calling and election sure, because we know that we have sinned and that we need mercy from Yahweh Basham Yahushai.
Right.
You know, and we can't justify ourselves. So it's best to think soberly about yourself and not try to exalt yourself and think you're something more than what you are.
Right.
Because, but to think soberly, according as the Most High have dealt to every man the measure of faith. Right, because each and every one of us has been given a portion of faith, to, bring forth fruit and push this word,
Mm-hmm.
So just because you receive a measure and it seems that, you get to a certain point, this truth becomes sweet to you, it's best to not get proud. The greater or the level that you kind of ascend to in this truth, this is why the scriptures say the greater you become, the more humble you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Shoot, I got something down in the same chapter. This is Romans 12 and starting at 16. Be of the same mind one towards another, mind not high things, but consent to men of low estate, be not wise in your own conceits. And this be of the same mind one towards another. It's not just believing the same thing. What does the scripture say about treating one as you would like to be, as you would have them treat you? Now, if you wouldn't have a person saying certain things to you, basically you don't say those certain things to a brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically being of the same mind one towards another. There's no respect of persons, but there is a bridle that you should have over your tongue for brothers at all times. The scriptures also say, offend not one of these little ones. And the Lord hears the voice of a man of a low estate, man.
Or a man at that.
Be not wise in your own conceits. You may think you know something, but you really don't know. Recompense no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men.
That sounds like tit for tat.
You don't do no tit for tat. That's just straightforward. No tit for tat, man. If a brother do evil to you, you don't do that evil to the brother, and the Lord will hear and see you. You know what I'm saying?
If he did that to me, I'm gonna do this to him.
You don't do that. Nah. 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men.
Right.
I mean, right now it's still possible. We know we at the end, but it's still possible. Live peaceably with all men. You know what I'm saying? There's no needs to cause strife with every single person out there that don't even believe in the scriptures. If a motherfucker don't believe in the scriptures, fuck him.
Right.
That's the bottom line with it. I don't need to argue with you. We can agree to disagree. Why do I agree to disagree? Because it ain't no sense in me telling you the truth anymore.
All right, we just straight up disagree. Be a man and deal with the shit.
Yeah. Whether you agree or disagree or just disagree. All right, man. Hey, we're not trying to convince you.
Nah, man.
If you're a nigga of the world and you don't want to believe the truth, that's fine.
Because I'm not going to entertain a motherfucker with that agree to disagree, because then they have a false victory in their mind.
Actually, I don't care. Hey, I know we the losers here.
Right.
So guess what? Have that false victory. I'm not trying to.
When you just if you already 100 and up front with them, hey, you have your belief, I have mine. Let's end that shit.
Right.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all. There's no agreements. There's no this or that. Look, this is what it is. Go about your business. Go about your business. It's easy. It's easy to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to do that. You got to be the bigger man in the end. All right? You know what I'm saying? In the end, when you're a bigger man in that situation, then you'll see how the Most High bless you for your patience. Woe to those who lose patience. All right? Let's see. This is 1 Corinthians 8:1. Now, touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth.
Right. Knowledge puffeth up. Yeah, we know a lot of things. We know more things than most men. We know more things than even most rich men. Knowledge puffeth up. Because you got your little bit of knowledge don't mean that you just the man now. There's many of men, and even I've seen it. There's many of men. And I haven't been in there, I only been in this thing for about a good 9 years, almost 10. So I've seen many men who were way colder than me at the scriptures. And I'm talking about miles ahead of me as far as knowing them scriptures, having that good memory, but they didn't fell out. They didn't have wayward doctrines and shit, man. They fell out because they thought they knew something.
Right.
When the truth was, they didn't really know much, And these same men thought they were above the elders at one, the apostles. They were being called elders at that time, but thought they were above the apostles at one point or another, just like Nazariah is going through right now in Egghead, you know. But knowledge puffeth up. Knowledge makes you get proud, man.
Well, that's the difference between having knowledge. You see, you got to have a balance in this thing. It's a constant balance. You got more knowledge than wisdom. Guess what? You're going to get ahead of yourself. You're going to get puffed up. Because wisdom is the execution of this knowledge.
Right? Understanding is the experience of this, man. If you don't got, if you got little experience in this, man, don't get puffed up. Or the scriptures talk about being a novice, man.
Right.
You know, you got all this new knowledge. You know what I'm saying? You don't got no wisdom and understanding, really. Or you don't got no understanding of it because you ain't really been through shit.
Right.
You just know these things, but you ain't been through shit, man.
And then even if you have been through shit, hey, this is we constantly being exercising this every day. Even the apostles still are being exercising this. So it don't stop, because to be righteous, you got to be in a constant state of seeking the Lord, following the law, statutes, and commandments, and examining yourself.
Right. Years in righteousness, man.
Right.
Years in righteousness. And yes, those years still do apply. It ain't because you know all these scriptures and shit, man. Those years still do apply because those are years of experience in righteousness.
Yeah, the race is not to the swift.
Right, and the race is not to the swift. As long as a man believes and he's still growing, hey, the race is not to the swift.
Which apostles are still growing. They're still finding out new things every day as the prophecies is coming out. So it's not that you told so great that you don't need to do something no more. That's why these other niggas fall out. I got that definition for puffed. It is the Greek word physio. Physio, the primary sense of blowing, to inflate, i.e. figuratively make proud, haughty, puff up. You know? So we bringing clarity to that word in that sense, because when you get puffed up, man, hey, that's just like somebody that think they got it all. In the end, they lose it all. The Most High would take his spirit from you if you think you got it all.
Hey, you can look at, the examples right now is Egghead and Nazariah. Back then, it was Batak, Ariala. You know, there were several different so-called brothers that, you know, that you thought was so powerful, man. You know, that then fell right out. And those two names, you know, those was from the old Chicago camp, man. And it's like, man, those brothers, you know, it would seem had so much spirit, but they fell out. And then Bataki, he knew them scriptures like the back of his hand. And what happened? He fell right on out, you know.
This is 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. You know, let's see. We might be able to start a little further up.
Right, and I gotta say this: knowledge puffed that man up. You know, he thought he knew something, just like Nazariah think right now. And Nazariah is changing the whole doctrine. Back then, Batak started saying all the Israelites look like John Shaft, man.
Right.
Before he fell out.
Right.
Same thing with Ariaba. He started thinking that you know, all the Israelites looked like John Shaft before he fell out, you know. It was like, but they were cold in the scriptures. They knew the scriptures, man.
But that's how it goes. Again, knowledge puffeth up.
That knowledge will puff you up and puff you right on out.
Because you think you that man.
Oh, shit,
man, I'm that man. Look, the Most High's function, he's flowing through me.
Right.
I'm on fire.
Right, now all of a sudden, you the one he's dealing with. And when we right at the end of this thing, now all of a sudden, we got to relearn from you? No, man. When we done learned all this stuff from the apostles? No, it don't work that way. The apostles have those years of righteousness on their side, man.
Right.
And if you don't got them years of righteousness, man, it ain't no sense in even thinking about puffing up. Years ago, we used to always talk about your age in the truth. So how old would I be in the truth? About 9 years old, man.
Wait, not to mention that even though the elders of the apostles is all the way up there, they still worms and filthy rags too.
Con.
And they recognize
it. Lest any man should boast. Yeah, and they recognize it, and they teach that, you know.
and they encourage you not to be of such.
Con.
And they are example first by doing
right.
so.
And they what, 30 years old in righteousness, while
35.
right, while most of you are babes in righteousness, including myself. Because a 9-year-old don't know much. I'm sorry, you look at a 9-year-old child in this world, and you know that 9-year-old don't know shit. I don't give a fuck how smart he is. He don't know a goddamn thing. He ain't lived.
Right.
You know, he done lived on under a person's wing all his life. You know?
And experienced everything that he's going to need.
Exactly. He don't.
To prepare for manhood.
Con. He don't have the experience.
And this is we learning how to be men in this thing.
I
don't think because you in this thing, you just an alpha male. We learning how to be men in this thing. This is teaching us how to be real men. This is 2 Corinthians 13:5. It says, examine yourselves whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not? Know ye not your own selves?
Right. Know ye not your own self. That's all going into examining yourself, man. I'm talking about going deep studying in yourself. Like, man, am I fucking up? Do I yeah, I know these scriptures and everything, but am I doing right by the brethren? Am I not making enemies out there, or am I making too many enemies out there? Am I talking too much? Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Basically examining yourself.
Wait, because if you don't do that without examining yourself, you're not going to be able to reflect and see. You're not going to be able to reflect and see, basically see from another man's point of view. You can't always see from your own point of view. You got to see from outside yourself. That's intimacy. When you're intimate with another person, you don't have to necessarily be intimate with a woman. You know what I'm saying? You intimate with this truth and his word is intimacy. And as another man gets to know you, he starts to be able to see into you because he's discerning you. Especially when you live with another man. When you live with another man, there's certain things you don't even have to say or do. Because that's such thing called body language and vibrations, man. Alright, so even when you say, oh no, I'm not this and that, well look, this is what the vibration is putting out. And let these things be established in the council of 2 to 3 men. You understand? So 2 to 3 men that you may not even know that are of a reputable background, possibly, or even if they aren't, but they you know you consider what's being said to you because the Most High would choose the vessel to speak from. That's what you can't fail to get fucked up. When the Most High is speaking from a certain vessel, like when you came out to preach, how did you come out to start preaching?
Oh shoot! I came out and I had what, a sign or
no. What was said to you by somebody to make you get out there?
Oh, yeah, the Lord chose a woman to tell me that because I was telling her all this knowledge I had, and she told me, old black woman told me, why ain't I out there spreading it? Ain't I supposed to be spreading it?
So wait, the Most High used, we're going back to Micah 7 and 10. All right. The Most High used your enemy to tell you this shit?
Right.
She that is my enemy.
Right. Yeah. An old black woman to tell me that I'm supposed to be out there spreading this knowledge because I got too much not to spread.
Right,
you know?
And so the Most High used that old woman, all right, his enemy.
Right.
To tell him, hey, to send that message through him that he need to go do this. So how much more brothers in this truth and his word that are supposed to be prophets are men of the hopeful elect as well? What the fuck? Is the Most High not speaking through them?
Right.
What, do you think that you don't hold other brothers in higher regard to them because you looking at the faults that they have?
You know
what I'm saying? Don't look at those faults that they have and just be like, well, you know, these brothers over here don't do this shit. Well, I know these men right here, well, they do this, that, and the third. Don't use that as a reason to look down on them because guess what? The Most High is still dealing with them.
Right. The Most High gave them their portion of faith.
That's it. You know? And the Most High is going to see fit in the season to bring about certain changes. That's not governed by you. Just because judgment is not executed speedily, all right? Because it doesn't always have to be a judgment of you dying or getting fucked up. The judgment could be like, well, I'm gonna take this and that from you so you can get this point in these times to come.
You can just jack you up over and over again until you humble yourself.
Right.
And if you don't humble yourself, hey, guess what? The Lord might just take this Holy Spirit away from you, which we pray against.
Right.
Go ahead,
This is Ecclesiastes 3:17. My son, go on with thy business in meekness.
Go on with thy
be beloved of him that is approved.
Go on.
It's about to get into be meek. Be humble.
Yeah.
You know?
Bitch, be humble.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why it's a good song, cause hey, that's something that you can definitely relate to. You know. being humble, man. If you are not humble, you will not make it far in this world.
You know, in this
Or in
truth.
this truth,
And
right.
it's
In
true,
this
right?
truth.
And it's true for this world. Cause hey, guess what? You see the Pope when he met them Rothschilds. That motherfucker, I saw that damn thing on the news. Man, that nigga had to be humble as a bitch. You see what I'm saying? He didn't come up with him shaking his hand off. Hey, nigga, what's up? You know, slap him on his back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dabbing him up. That motherfucker had his head down. He was shook. Like that motherfucker was being humble as a bitch. You see what I'm saying? Even these motherfuckers out in this world gotta be humble. You got shit fucked up to think that you something more than you are. Most I show you real quick, your ass ain't shit.
God.
It says, the greater thou art, the more humble thyself.
Right,
Thou shalt
the
find
greater.
favor before the Lord.
God
Right, the
damn.
greater thou art, man. So the more knowledge you have, and hey, I would be remiss not to read this in 1 Timothy, 1 Timothy 3:6. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil. You know, not a novice. What is a novice? A novice is what you would say an amateur or a
Right.
newbie.
Go play a video with for those that play video games. Play a video game and it'll show the settings. Go to the settings where it say like sometimes it'll say hard, easy, normal. Sometimes it'll say novice, adapt. You know what I'm saying?
novice.
Veteran.
Yeah, you new to this thing. For those that play RPGs, they will understand.
Which is
you got
role-playing games.
yeah, you got levels to this thing.
Right.
Let's say, let me give you an example. If you're a level 3, you cannot fight a level 30. A level 30 will will destroy you in one hit.
Right.
And let me put it in years of righteousness. If a man been in here 30 years of righteousness compared to a man being in 3 years of righteousness, that man is uncomparable. Now let's go back down to 8 years of righteousness. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Same thing. It's uncomparable. A 3-year-old fighting a 8-year-old, who you think is gonna win? You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much this 3-year-old knows. The 8-year-old is gonna win.
Right.
And then on top of that, your number of years in righteousness, it matters a lot, man. Because that goes to your patience, man.
Yeah.
Your patience and faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai.
Right.
Ba'ashem Rakakwadash.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So don't take lightly of men that actually been in here, been laboring more patiently than you, man.
Right.
And then it says you preach with meekness, man. Be humble. Be humble in front of such, you know?
Right. Or get humble.
Yeah, or get humble. Not by that man, so to speak, but by the Heavenly Father, man.
I got a precept.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sirach 1:30. It says that be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. Right? You gotta watch what you say, man.
Yep.
Cause sometimes, man, a person can utter some things out of what they say so fast it'll be an emotional response.
Okay.
All right, and through cognitive dissonance. All right. Through cognitive dissonance, which is what's the definition of
psychological emotional disorder where a person has conflicting thoughts simultaneously.
So it can't be like you see that you fucking up yet. The cognitive dissonance kicks in, and you like, well, it can't be wrong, man. I know, I just feel like I
know I'm fucking up, but I can't be fucking up.
Right.
That's cognitive dissonance.
Because you have an internal conflict.
Yep, you're having that internal conflict.
And then you start justifying yourself.
Yep, you start justifying yourself from there.
Right.
You know, to settle the conflict within your mind and make yourself feel better, basically.
Right. Exalt not thyself, lest thy fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul.
Right. Exalt not thyself. Don't think you're on such a high level, man. Because remember, we all worms in this. We all need forgiveness, man.
Remember that game, Earthworm Jim?
Right. We lower than Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, that nigga had a little power.
Yeah, we don't have any power, and we all need that forgiveness. Right.
Earthworm Jim.
Right. We ain't shit without that suit.
Right.
What is that suit?
That
the spiritual armor, man.
Yep.
I mean, we ain't shit without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man.
Right.
Without Rakakwadash, man. We ain't shit without this spirit, man.
Right.
You know, if the Lord take this power suit from us, we ain't shit. Hey, and we're subject to judgment. You know. So, you know, it's best not to be. It's best not to be puffed up, man.
Right, because you're gonna end up like Puff Daddy. You don't.
This light so you can see.
Yeah, kind of. Let's see. Let's go any further. I can still heat off of it.
I'll tell you what.
No. You know. It says right here. It says, "Exalt not thyself, lest thy fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul." And so Yahweh discover thy secrets.
Right. This you bring exalt not thyself, let you bring dishonor upon thy soul, man. And that's such an easy thing to do, to exalt yourself, man. All you got to do is have that one thought in your mind. I mean, come on, Nazariah is going through it right now, and Egghead, they're going through it right now. They exalting themselves, man. It's like, damn, man. So don't bring dishonor upon your soul.
A little bit more. It says, Yahweh. It says, and so Elohim discover thy secrets.
Right. The powers discover your secret. The angels of the Heavenly Father discover your secrets.
What you really on.
Yep.
Because if you hide malice and ill content behind anything that you do, you think the Most High ain't gonna see it?
Right.
Even if you deny it in your own mind and try to justify it in your own mind, he gonna let you know about chastening your ass. That evidently, when you get chastened, you're supposed to be putting it in remembrance in your mind, like, hey, you got to think back. Damn, maybe I did fuck up. And then here come that cognitive dissonance again. Because you're doing this and you're doing that.
And really, that cognitive dissonance is really a demon, man.
That's all it is.
A demon of pride, man.
Yep. Let's see. It says, and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation.
Right. Cast thee down in the midst of the congregation, man. You be thrown out in a bad way, and then you become like that bull threshing against itself, tearing asunder your soul, man. Like, hey, and I have to keep on saying Nazariah because he's the prime example right now. You know, his soul is torn to pieces right now. That's why he's trying to tear this truth to pieces.
Right.
He's trying to tear it to pieces in his mind, and he trying to make our brothers fall out. Because he's tearing it to pieces, man. He's trying to take you with him, so to speak, you know?
And may I remind you also, it says at the beginning of Sirach 1:30, it says, exalt not thyself, lest thy fall.
Right.
So when you burn bridges with people, man, guess what? Like with the analogy was given each other, because all these things are spiritually discerned. You standing in the middle of a bridge and you burn it from one end, it gets burned from the next. You stand in the middle, you trying to run to one side, it's gonna be too late because that fucking village, that bridge is gonna fall. Next you know it, you fell out with those that really cared about you. Right? Because you have this cognitive dissonance, which is that's what this
demon. This pride demon on you.
And cast thee down in the midst of the congregation, because in the midst of the congregation, if the congregation that the Lord is working with them, that congregation is going to come together and see the situation for what it is, man. And the casting you down in front of them is, hey, it's just like back when I was in the army. I pissed hot. I smoked weed when I was in the army, and I pissed hot. And guess what? In the congregation, all them commanders, I was stripped of my rank. You feel me? And had to do all kind of shit. You know, I was chastened, like them, so to speak. All right. Because thou canst not in truth. It says, because thou camest not in truth to the fear of Yahweh. But thy heart is full of deceit. Playing yourself.
You got anything else?
This is Psalms 51:11. It says, cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me.
And we all have to constantly have that in our minds, man. Yeah, we all have to cast not thy Holy Spirit from me, man. We begging the Lord every day to keep us in this, man. It ain't no day you should be letting up praying about that, man. You know, staying in the Holy Spirit, man. You know, because he can take it away from you like that. You see how he done took he done took his Holy Spirit away from guys who actually exalted themselves. I mean, they were charismatic, They knew them scriptures, and then all of a sudden they were gone. You know?
Yep, like a vapor.
Yep, like a vapor.
This is 1 Corinthians 3 and 2. This is let's start at 3 and 3. 1 Corinthians 3 and 3, it says, "For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men?"
I mean, we carnal, man.
Right.
I mean, we try to be spiritual.
Well, like the apostle said, though, we can't stay in the spirit. It's impossible for any man to stay in the spirit 100% of the time.
God. We strive to be like Yahushua, man.
Right. And striving is not something that's accumulated over a couple years. Man.
Right. It takes time, man.
Right. And we recognize that even as being patrons, seeking out that goal, you know?
God. And if y'all got anything else?
Yeah, I got a little bit more. It says, "For ye are yet carnal, for whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions, are ye not carnal and walk as men? For while one says, I am," and then I got one more precept outside that. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 1. "A good name is better than precious ointment, and the day of death than the day of one's birth."
Right, and a good name is talking about your reputation, man.
Right.
You got a bad reputation, then motherfuckers ain't gonna want to be around you, and motherfuckers ain't gonna want to, be bothered by you, man.
Right.
So you gotta watch your reputation, man.
Right.
You gotta watch that. You seriously do, man.
Right. Kind.
I mean, shit. If you don't watch your reputation, what do you think is gonna become of you? You know? This is a serious thing, man. It's a very serious thing, man.
This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 5. "It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools."
It is better to hear the rebuke of the wise, because, hey, the rebuke of the wise, you can learn from it, you know? It'll make you examine yourself from the rebuke of the wise, you know, and you can learn from that. You can get it right from that. Otherwise, man, hey, keep doing what you're doing, and hey, the Lord gonna end up just kicking you out. However he decides to do it, however he decides to play it out.
I got then this is the 8th verse of Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. It says, "The better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit."
Right, the patient, man. I mean, you take these things patiently. Take rebuke patiently. When you brought to a lower state, take it patiently. Be patient. Be humble.
When you chasten,
when you chasten,
curse not the Lord.
Curse not. Take it patiently, man.
Right. They say, "Gird thy loins like a man."
Kind.
When you get to a lower state or a fucked up situation, don't fucking look to put that shit off on somebody else.
Right.
Shit like a man.
Exactly. Be a soldier on that shit, man.
Right. Which soldier means what again?
Solitude. It comes from the word solitary. It means alone.
Come on, man.
Examine yourself. Be a soldier, take it patiently.
But you can't examine yourself if you always, in the presence of other men.
Exactly. If you always in the presence of others, you can't examine yourself.
No, it's impossible.
Yeah.
You can only
because you need solitude to be, to examine yourself. You need some alone time, so to speak, to examine yourself.
Why you think these niggas have entourages, not just to protect them, but to tell them all the shit that they want to hear?
Yeah, exactly, man. Because a wise man ain't gonna always tell you what you want to hear, man.
Because you'll find out how weak your ass is trying to walk around when you tough with a group of niggas jumping niggas. You'll find out how weak your ass is by yourself.
Yeah.
This says, the 9th verse says, "Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools."
Hey, it ain't really no other breakdown for that. Anger rests in the bosom of fools.
Wait,
man.
If you get impatient, what you gonna do?
You gonna get angry.
And then if you get angry with that,
you might just do something.
You might sin.
Exactly.
And your anger sin not, right?
Yep.
Shit, you might say some shit that you mean. All right, I ain't gonna say some shit you don't mean. You might say some shit you mean
that you didn't want to come out.
Right.
Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth.
Kind.
Don't be trying, and then having to clean up for it later.
Yep. And you know, that's about it. You know.
Yeah.
With that, we hope you brothers that listen are edified, and all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, the honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Honors and salutations to you brothers and that's doing the work in truth and sincerity.
Oh yeah,
and
we apply this to ourselves. What we speak.
Of course,
we speak from the inward out.
Whatever we speaking on these videos, we apply to ourselves, man.
First.
And first.
So we gotta take that.
Shalom.
Shalom.